The census began at night. By candlelight, clerks bent over ledgers in the winter of 1794, counting names that no longer breathed. Streets lay silent outside the windows of Warsaw, yet the pens kept moving. Each scratch across the page recorded a citizen, a household, a trade, people who had fled, been buried, or vanished behind foreign lines. That was why later generations would call it the night the census counted ghosts. Poland's capital no longer knew which flag it belonged to. For centuries, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth had been one of Europe's largest states, ruled by an elected king and guarded by a fiercely independent nobility. But by the late 18th century, its neighbors, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, had grown tired of Polish independence. They called it disorder. They called it weakness. And in 1772 they took the first bite, carving away land in the first partition of Poland. By 1791, Polish reformers fought back with the Constitution of May 3rd, one of the world's first modern constitutions. It promised representation, law, and a future. For a moment, hope lived in Warsaw. Then the empires returned. In 1793, Russia and Prussia enforced the second partition. Russian troops marched through the capital. Prussian banners appeared on streets that answered to no flag at all. The king, Stanislaw II Augustus, remained on the throne, but everyone knew the truth. Power no longer lived there. Beneath the palace floors, edicts were whispered. Official decrees could not be read aloud without fear. Resistance leaders spoke in cellars and kitchens, passing messages folded into bread or stitched into coats. One name moved from mouth to mouth with urgency and reverence: Tadeusz Kościuszko. In March 1794, Kościuszko rose in rebellion, declaring a national uprising in Krakow. Warsaw followed. For months, the city fought with desperation. Artisans, students, and peasants took up arms. Church bells rang not for prayer, but for warning. Freedom, Kościuszko told his followers, is not given, it is taken. But empires do not forgive defiance. In November 1794, Russian forces under General Alexander Suvorov stormed the Warsaw district of Praga. What followed was not a battle, it was a massacre. Thousands of civilians were slaughtered. Smoke rose over the Vistula River. The uprising collapsed in blood. That winter, officials attempted order where none remained. They ordered a census. Clerks recorded families who would never return. Entire streets were listed as occupied, though windows stared back like empty eyes. This was not administration, it was denial, written in ink. As Russian authority tightened, something strange happened along the river. Witnesses later wrote of royal seals, stamps of authority, and administrative insignia thrown into the Vistula under cover of darkness. Not bodies, symbols. The tools of a state being quietly erased. If the seals were gone, the laws they marked could not live. One anonymous clerk left a note in the margins of a registry book, now preserved in fragments. We count, but we do not rule. We sign, but we do not decide. By 1795, the final blow came. Russia, Prussia, and Austria agreed to the third partition of Poland. There would be no kingdom left to govern. Under pressure, King Stanislaw II Augustus abdicated. On the morning after his resignation, guards entered the royal chamber. The throne was empty. No coronation followed, no proclamation echoed through the square. Poland simply vanished from the map of Europe. A nation that had existed for over 800 years was erased, not in one moment of fire, but through documents, signatures, and silence. Yet history did not forget. Surviving census records, sealed letters, and whispered memoirs tell us what maps cannot. that nations die first on paper, long before they disappear in memory. The census that counted ghosts stands as proof of a people who were still there, even when the world pretended they were not. And when Poland returned in 1918, after 125 years of absence, it carried with it the lesson of that night. A state can lose its throne, its borders, even its name, but as long as its people remember who they are, history is never finished counting them.